And this is the collaboration with Serengeti and producer Kenny Segal.
Yep.
Ajai.
Who is this Serengeti guy?
Serengeti is obviously a rapper from
Yeah.
Chicago.
Sure.
And I mean, for people who do not listen to hip hop so much, Serengeti might be best known as the rapper in Sufjan Stevens' Sisyphus project, which was formerly known as S/S/S. He is obviously, I think he's most well known for his album Dennehy and the song about the actor Brian Dennehy. And his song Dennehy is kind of considered a Chicago anthem, like one of the greatest songs in the history of Chicago. Wow. Like that song is considered.
Okay.
And he's been doing this character Kenny Davis, which I am familiar with, but there's so much stuff. I guess I need to fill in a lot of gaps. And Kenny Davis is like the second half of this album, and he's the character he's been doing a lot on previous albums.
I see.
I guess Kenny's
a
wife
bit confusing
died, and it's weird because
sounds
the
like
first
two different hip hop artists.
Yeah, like the first half of the album tells the story of Ajai.
Yeah,
who's like an Indian like sneakerhead, obsessed with like exclusive drops and streetwear collaborations, and he's in therapy, and he's sort of like on the verge of losing his wife over his obsession with like this hype beast culture. And basically the album is both parts are dealing with hype beast culture, and I think it must be bizarre for people who have no knowledge of that kind of thing, or no interest in that kind of scene or that kind of culture. Like for me, it all makes total sense.
Like obsession with products,
like sneakers and streetwear and like
the street cred
the
and
designers
all that
and just, I mean,
you spend a lot of money on that, can't you?
Absolutely,
like insane amounts.
So I mean, you're either a sneakerhead or you're not. Obviously I am. So
you certainly are. How many pairs of Nikes do you have?
Oh, I don't know.
There's like a whole room of them over there.
Yep. So it's, I mean, for me, like I get all those references, like fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, I guess. The stuff with the Kenny Davis part is all told exactly from Kenny's perspective, and it's like, I know some of that story. I've listened to some of those albums, but it's still kind of confusing, I think. So to go into it completely fresh is like a really weird thing, I think.
That's the impression I got, that this is just like intelligent hip hop. I mean, I'm just like this, thinking these words, like, wow, the flow and just I mean, obviously I don't understand a lot of it because it's like you said, it's the culture I'm not so familiar with, but it's pretty deep stuff.
It's super intricate,
very intellectual,
incredible storytelling, incredibly like well-defined characters, and like there are definitely songs that are fairly abstract and off the wall, but I still think the Ajai section feels like kind of immediately accessible, even as long as you accept the conceit that there's a culture of people who will do anything for sneakers, especially rare ones, and that can consume your life, then it's an easy enough story to follow, I think. The Kenny Davis stuff made me feel like I need to go back through Serengeti's back catalogue and start getting up to speed on what's going on with Kenny Davis, to be honest. But again, I mean, I don't know if you picked up on this, but going back to Virgil Abloh, who did the cover art for the West Side Gun there, the end of the Ajay story is that he ordered these extremely expensive off-white Nike collaboration sneakers, and they were sent to the wrong house. And so he never got them, and then they were sent to Kenny's house, and Kenny becomes a hype beast, basically. And I mean, I would say, like, the references to Balenciaga over this album and the West Side Gun album, like the Italian fashion brand Balenciaga. If you could make a drinking game out every time you heard somebody say Balenciaga, and you would be fucking going to hospital
right?
tomorrow.
So a hell of a lot of references.
Yeah. And I mean, I love that song. I forget which song it is, where in Ajai's section where he's in therapy and he asks his therapist about the first time she saw the Balenciaga SS sneakers, and she's like starts talking about materialism, and he says, I wasn't listening because her chair was so boring or something. Like,
oh my God.
It's just, that's just his fault. When he's in Paris with his wife and he tries to buy somebody sneakers instead of having dinner with his wife, or they're at the airport and he takes 20 minutes to come out of the bathroom because he's trying to find his gloves. Like,
oh wow.
And he comes out and she's like, why are you crying? Like he's just
that's some obsession right there.
Such a like really like perfectly deep and well written, and it's so impressive lyrically, I think.
I mean, I obviously didn't pick up on all those things, but like overall just really was an impressive listen. I mean I really enjoyed this, I have to say. How about that? Let's say the production stuff. That was really well done. Right?
Kenny Segal did the production. He's easily one of the best producers around now, I think. Last year he did the Hiding Places album with Billy Woods, which in hindsight would have probably ended up on my top 10 of that year. Yeah. If I'd listened to it then. I think he's doing some amazing, unique work, and it's a lot of like what's the word, like he's playing a lot of the instrumentation. He's playing the bass.
Is that right? He's doing the bass,
and some other stuff. Like it's not all just samples.
There is that was like live recorded drums in this, right?
Yeah,
I thought. Yeah.
So he's creating like sort of like very. I think his production stuff's so unique, but I mean it definitely has that underground sort of hip hop feel to it. Which is. It definitely reminded me of Apollo Brown a bit, but Apollo Brown is all samples, and this is sort of more like unique, sort of original ideas, I guess. But
I loved all the sort of the I guess the samples, like kind of like a sort of jazz piano sound, like a flute. Even I think I heard like a harpsichord on track Don't Wear That Suit, like a distorted kind of harpsichord sound. It was really just sublime in places, really. Just like, wow, is this the height of hip hop? I mean,
I think
like well produced hip hop without the violence and the swearing and the N word here and there. You know, it's kind of nice for me to hear that.
Yeah, I get you. I think this kind of hip hop takes me back to sort of like the 90s, where the early 2000s, where there was such a distinction between mainstream rap and like what we used to call backpack rap.
Backpack.
Because the kind of kids that went to underground hip hop shows always wore a backpack.
Okay, I see. So. Did it have glasses and like teeth sticking
kinda,
out?
Like
I'm sorry.
Well, like our friend Julian, I guess. But because he was a backpack, a backpacker like that.
I can see it.
Like he that's the kind of hip hop he likes. And I was always kind of in between that, like loving both of them in different ways. But I know, like most mainstream rap fans or people who love gangster rap or whatever in the 90s, like they were not interested in this. Yeah, like this was considered soft, I guess.
Like faggotry. That's not the word. You know what I mean? Just lame, I guess. Yeah.
I guess that's the kind of words they would use back then. Yes.
You know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it was, and that's why like Ice Cube and Common ended up getting into a beef, and like Common like wrecked him, which is not many people can say they wrecked Ice Cube, but that's what Common was representing. That sort of like they call it conscious hip hop, where you're actually thinking about something.
That's the word. Like, and I think that's.
And Common had that song. One of my favorite songs of all time is called "I Used to Love Her," where Common uses hip hop as like he uses like a woman for a metaphor for hip hop. How when he was a kid, she was this fun thing that they hung out, and they loved it and just want to have fun. And then when they got older, she started getting intelligent and talking about Africa and like A Tribe Called Quest, that kind of thing, like sort of talking about making yourself a better person. And then in the 90s, she moved to LA and became like a gangster and a drug dealer and a piece of garbage, and like how it was still cool, but it never felt the same way.
Yeah.
And like those guys got super offended by that song.
Yeah.
But that song's one of the greatest songs ever. And this kind of reminds me of that. Like Common now is like useless compared to those days, but this level of storytelling and these ideas and concepts, and just like you said, it's not about cooking cocaine. It's not about shooting anyone.
No shooting or drive-bys or anything.
It's really well-defined storytelling with intricate details. You could make this into a TV show. Like this could be like this. It's like an audio. Like an storybook.
Oh, okay, sure.
Like a storyboarding a TV show or a movie or something. You could use this as a guide for how to write the script
How would you even go about writing this music? That's what gets me.
That's
Does
an
he
amazing
just, like, write
thing
it
for
or
me.
compose it like a book first or something?
I guess so.
It's pretty incredible, really.
Yeah. But I think it's super well, and like the production is A+. This, it's we've got there's good production, and like, and I'm not gonna share on like Metro Boomin or any of those guys. They're doing great stuff, but just to hear somebody take it this direction, this level of intricacy, and how I was listening to the Little Uzi Vert review we did the other day as I put up a video on our new YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, please follow that, everyone.
Yeah, please look up Midnight Waves on YouTube. Check that out. Like and subscribe. And we were sort of making fun of how every 3/4 of the songs were about pussy or licking pussy or flicking pussies.
Like he's never had it before.
It's even if you love his music, it's like you can't be getting anything out of it.
That's right.
Whereas this, it was like and I will say this album is the first album in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Where I was listening and I'd stop paying attention like I usually do, and I would actually go back.
I did the same thing. I did the same thing
because I don't want to miss the story.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I need to know what's happening, if I felt like what's happening now? Like who's this Chinese guy? Like what's happening? I went back 3 songs.
That's a sign of good storytelling.
Yeah, and I think I started trying to look up the lyrics, but they're not online anywhere yet. And it was like, okay, now I have to actually use my brain.
You might have to listen, maybe start writing this down as well. I mean, it's so good. You could actually think, I'm gonna actually fucking write this stuff down because I like it this much.
Yeah,
figure it out.
I'm sure it'll end up on Genius. But
we could pop it on ourselves, couldn't we?
It reminded me of that like Simpsons where the TV stops working. Homer says like, do something soon, I'm starting to think here. Like this is what it was like. It was like, oh my god, funny. I have to start thinking.
Wait, I have a brain again? I have a brain up there. Okay, better use it then.
It's like, don't you just mean I'm gonna lick her pussy, I'm gonna flick her pussy?
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot some people.
I just fucked your bitch in some Gucci flip-flops. I just took a piss and I seen codeine coming out. That's an actual Future song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought
and I love Future. Actually, I do.
I thought you were rhyming on the ball there.
No. No, that's the Jekyll and Hyde of my hip hop love. That I can love Future just as much as I can love this. But I would love to hear everyone be a little bit more like this and a little bit less like that.
Yeah. I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like hearing both styles or both sort of extremes, I guess, but this was a intellectual awakening.
It actually is. And it's, when I was a kid and my stupid dad and my friend's stupid dads, they're just talking. What are you listening to that for? That doesn't have any talent. They're just talking.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And it's like, and in those days, it was like Tribe Called Quest and like, like Ice Cube and like I said, like Common, like De La Soul. It's like, well, why do you do it? Why do you just talk over some beats? Let's see how it comes out, Dad. But like, this is such a perfect example.
I was trying to picture how a dad would say that, but it would be pretty bad. I was doing my DIY in the garden.
Well, my name is Dad, and I'm here to say.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. What's that one that was like the Jesus Christ one? Anyway, that's hilarious too. Kind of like that, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And this is a
awesome.
perfect example of what the art of hip hop can be. beyond the genre of music, this is like some art.
Would have to say that I did prefer the first half, just because his voice mostly. But
yeah, the character voice doesn't. I think if you're into that, you can probably like feel it more. But I loved the first half of this so much,
and I did think it was someone else on the second because I didn't actually know the background to this album. And I was like, "Who's this guy?" Suddenly, he ain't as good as the first rapper. Like, come on, bring him back again.
Yeah,
but
anyway, awesome we're kind of gushing here, but
well, I think we can gush when it's due.
Yeah,
when something deserves it.
So I love that song we heard there. Romantic Paris. I love Ajai Finale. I think that is such a great song. Probably the best song on the album, I think.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the songs I really liked from the second half was Exhausted. I think the beat there is so good.
Oh yeah, okay. I'd have to listen again.
Yeah. But good stuff.
Very, very, very good. So
shall I do the honors?
Do the honors?
I'm going to go 4.5 on this one.
Damn it, me too.
Yeah.
I was hoping you'd say 5 so I could say a different score.
The second half is still a bit of...
That's the thing. So that's the only reason I'm not giving it a 5, actually.
I still really liked it, but it is a little bit long, to be honest.
It is. Like, 16 tracks? Was that it?
Yeah, it's quite a lot.
The actual length of the album, but...
Yes.
Like time-wise.
16 songs,
44 minutes, but it feels like 60.
Yeah, I mean,
second
it definitely feels a little lengthy.
Intermission, which is quite interesting in itself. But so
But I mean,
I think I have to buy this one
if you can. It might only be on Bandcamp. That's the worry.
For God's sake.
Obviously, by all means, support artists on Bandcamp.
Oh, I have bought a few things.
But
I do. But like, we're physical collectors.
I'm paying for streaming, so you know.
That's right.
If I can get a physical copy, I will definitely get a physical copy of this.
Yeah.
I actually really like the hand drawn artwork there.
I do too.
With the
it's very cool.
The off-white Air Force
I assume
One
that's
there.
the guys, right?
I guess on the right is Ajai.
Okay.
And on the left is Kenny. What's his name?
Kenny.
Nope.
Kenny Loggins. No, not Kenny Loggins. That's cool.
I would love if Serengeti here could do a whole concept album in character as Kenny Loggins.
Amazing. He probably could. He's that talented.
I'm sure he could. You got the off-white Air Force One there, as
by
designed
the way,
by Virgil Abloh.
Would you recommend any other Serengeti projects or
albums?
Oh,
absolutely.
I mean, just maybe for our listeners, or
I mean,
for me too. But
if
you happen to know,
I think the Dennis 6E album is really, really good.
Yeah.
The Dennehy album I mentioned before is great. And that Sisyphus album he did with Sufjan Stevens is not great, but it's definitely worth a listen.
Okay.
It's definitely an interesting idea. So I mean, there's more. Obviously, there's definitely more stuff, but
there's loads of stuff on Apple Music. Wow.
And like I said with Kenny Segal, the album he did last year with Billy Woods called Hiding Places is really, really good.
Okay.
So
I
check
will
those
out. Yeah. Thank you.